My newsletter yesterday was about how I got quoted in HubSpot and 2 other publications in the last month for free with very little work, very little time. That's what yesterday's newsletter was about. It was a short newsletter, and I got a response from someone named Ibrahim Mudassar, and he said to me, "Hey, Edward, not sure if you can see this, but if you can, hi. My name is Ibrahim. I'm currently a junior in college, and I'm trying to study finance. How do I use something like this to legitimize myself and have social proof when I'm not an expert on a topic yet?" And so that is what I'm going to answer on today's episode of the show. And this isn't just for Ibrahim. This is for anybody listening who wants to get free social proof that's fast, that's easy, and how to use that social proof. That's what I am sharing with you on this episode of the show. So I'm going to read yesterday's newsletter. It's fairly short. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be a bunch of graphics. And then afterwards, I'm going to answer Ibrahim's question. So this is yesterday's newsletter. It's called Mental. And here it is. Featured.com free tier is kind of insane. First, this is not an ad. The tool has really just been that good to me. Featured works similar to Help a Reporter Out, RIP, or Source of Sources. Help a Reporter Out died last month. It's been replaced with Source of Sources. Just letting you know. But Featured.com is another alternative that has been super good. So here's how it works. Journalists, writers, media people, they need experts for the content they are creating. Submit your expert quote or credentials. Get selected and get exposure, clout, and backlinks. In the past, I've recommended its paid tier, but recently its free tier has gone mental. Here's an email I received a few weeks ago, and I got an email saying, "Hi, Edward, we are writing a blog for HubSpot on important metrics web designers use to identify SEO flaws. We'd love to include your insights in our article. It requires a 4 to 8 sentence quote from Edward before our deadline of December 8th. Would you be interested in contributing?" And there's a link to contribute. And so I say, you probably know HubSpot. If you don't, and I share that it gets 36.26 million visits a month, according to SimilarWeb, and its domain authority, its SEO domain authority is 93 out of 100. 100 is the highest SEO domain authority you can have. SEO domain authority helps with ranking for competitive keywords. It says to Google, this website is authoritative. And so it would be great to have a link from HubSpot. It's a valuable backlink, and to be listed and quoted on HubSpot because it's a trusted, high authority, high trafficked website. So I submitted an answer using Featured. And I'm going to actually read, I didn't plan on this, but I'm going to actually read what I said because I think it's a good answer. And I think it's interesting for anybody who's interested in search engine optimization or information architecture. And it's pretty short. So this is what I said to HubSpot. I design and build all my websites. Information architecture is what website owners should look at to diagnose web design issues hurting SEO. How many clicks does it take to get to pages you hope to rank well within Google? If it's more than 3, not including pagination, you have a problem. 2 clicks is optimal. 3 clicks is acceptable. Past that, you are telling Google these pages are not very important. This also causes the pages to receive less link juice from your root domain. A best practice to solve this, have category pages in your footer, /uses or /articles or /blog or /services. Each of these contains links to the pages you wish to rank. The URL structure is clear too. If you want to rank for the term SEO for collectors, after your home URL would be /services /SEO for collectors. This is clear information architecture. It's clear to visitors and clear to search engines. The pages you want to rank do not take many clicks to get to from the homepage. That's what I said. And here's the result of me saying that to HubSpot. I show up in the Selected tab and I write. Boom! A few days later, it appeared in the Selected tab, soon to appear in the Published tab. Featured only recently has become even better than it has been, and it was already excellent. More media organizations, bigger ones, perhaps an even higher acceptance rate, and not so many users that it's too hard to compete. This is my overall acceptance rate on Featured. And so I share a screenshot. My success rate is 69.57%. I responded to 50 questions total on Featured, and 32 of my answers were published, 32 out of 50. Success rate of 69.57%, almost 70%. Pretty crazy. And I write, check this out. This is why I'm saying the free tier has gone mental. Free tier gives you 3 answers per month. I share a screenshot of it. The 3 that are in my selected tab, because of my previous screenshot, you see 3 in my selected tab, all 3 of my free answers for the month. So I used all 3 of my free answers for the month, and all of my answers were used by journalists. I got 3 quotes from that, published 3 times from that, for free. And I write, sometimes I pay the $50 per month for featured pro tier, which gives unlimited answers. But lately I haven't had the time to respond to that many questions each month. So the 3 have been good. It's just kind of crazy to think about. I do nothing. I pay nothing. I get notified of media organizations needing a quote. Some of them are huge. And unlike featured's competitors, there is a 70% chance my answers are accepted. Mental. Come on, that's mental. So how would you use this? Answer questions, get backlinks, and when you appear in decent publications, share it on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you are building a brand. You could say something like, got included in this great article on HubSpot or Entrepreneur or so-and-so. Use this to help legitimize yourself for whatever your goals are. Social proof and backlinks. Mental. And so that was yesterday's newsletter. And then Ibrahim sends the message. Not sure if you can see this, but hi, I'm Ibrahim, junior in college, and I'm trying to study finance. How do I use something like this to legitimize myself and have social proof when I'm not an expert on a topic yet? So, Ibrahim, this is what I would do if I was in Ibrahim's position. And actually, one time in my life I was, because I was using many years ago when I was just starting to learn SEO, search engine optimization. I learned about Help a Reporter Out, which works the same way. And Help a Reporter Out, it just shut down. But when I was using it so many years ago, it was great. It was great. And I wanted to be seen as an SEO expert, as an authority on SEO, but I was just learning SEO. So fill out your profile, and I'm going to talk about how I legitimize myself in that situation in a moment. But also, I would create a website. I think it's a good practice to age a personal website as soon as possible. And what do I mean by age? Google likes websites that are older, they're more trusted. So just create a website for your name, ibrahimmudassar.com or something like that. .com is always a trusted choice. .io might be good too. .io is more seen as tech, maybe .net or something that you care about, but something with your name. Ibrahim Finance, I don't know, could be anything. So create a website. You can use Squarespace to build it. Squarespace is super easy. I can't believe how easy Squarespace is. It's easy to the level of like playing Super Mario Bros. It's that intuitive. Like when you play Super Mario Bros, you don't need to read the instruction manual. You can just, you know that you're supposed to jump and dodge the bad guys and dodge the Goombas and the Koopas. And you know that you're supposed to do that. That's kind of what Squarespace is like. So you could use Squarespace. You could use my Pareto SEO guide, which I have linked in the description for this episode. That's the 20% of things to do to get 80% of the results doing SEO, 80% of the results from Google. And it's the 20% of the things to do, the 20% of the things to be aware of. And it works with Squarespace as well. So create a site. That's something that's worth doing. Doesn't really have to take a long time, but you want to legitimize yourself. I wanted to legitimize myself when I was answering questions on Help a Reporter Out. Before saying what I did, I'm going to read a story. And it's a story from David Geffen. This is from ChatGPT saying who David Geffen is and how much money he has. David Geffen is an American business magnate, producer, and film studio executive renowned for founding Geffen Records and co-founding DreamWorks. As of December 2024, his net worth is estimated at $8.7 billion. A friend of mine is friends with David Geffen, and that's how I found out about this story, but the story is famous, but I found out about it in the first place from my friend who is friends with David Geffen. And this is the story, and it's very related. This is what ChatGPT says. It's a very short story. In the early 1960s, David Geffen aspired to enter the entertainment industry and sought a position at the William Morris Agency, also known as WMA. At that time, WMA required its agents to hold a college degree. To meet this criterion, Geffen falsely claimed on his application that he was a graduate of UCLA. After securing a mailroom position at WMA, the William Morris Agency, in 1964, Geffen anticipated that the agency would verify his educational background. To prevent his deception from being uncovered, he arrived at work early for several months to intercept any correspondence from UCLA that might reveal the truth. When a letter eventually arrived confirming he had not graduated, Geffen altered it to indicate that he was an alumni and submitted the forged document to WMA. This act of deception allowed Geffen to retain his position and advance within the agency, eventually becoming a talent agent. His early career was marked by such manipulations, he did many, which he used to navigate the competitive entertainment industry. So when I was starting and I was learning SEO and I wasn't really credible, I said that I was. That's it. I said that I was quoted in all these publications. I said that I was doing SEO a lot longer than I was. And it's really not hard, because the thing is, if you say that you are legitimate and you give a good answer, if you say you're legitimate but you give a bad answer, it doesn't matter. And likewise, if you give a good answer but you say you're not legitimate, both are unacceptable. But if you give a good answer and you say you're legitimate, journalists, they want the good answer. And many of them are not going to check. And a lot of them, they write with an agenda. They know what they're looking for and they're writing with a purpose. And they want an answer that addresses their purpose and it helps their article and the point in their article. And it's usually very easy to discern a journalist's agenda or point. If it's a more open-ended question, then you can give the best answer that you can. And if it's rejected, that's okay. Like my HubSpot question was more open-ended. And consider this, I'm not really a designer, but I do design and build all my websites. And that's actually not a lie, that's true. So I just said that. I design and build all my websites. And my credibility says Edward Sturm, SEO and marketing expert at edwardsturm.com. That's what my credibility says, by the way. It doesn't say that I've been an entrepreneur, that I've been on 2020, on Good Morning America, that I've been in all these publications, that I'm viral on TikTok and I'm viral on Instagram and I have this daily podcast. It doesn't say any of that. It just says, actually, it's really interesting. It just says SEO and marketing expert at edwardsturm.com. That is literally my attribution, because a lot of journalists don't look. They just want a good answer. So Ibrahim, you could say finance expert or whatever type of finance you are, finance expert at ibrahimmudassar.com, because that's what I do. That is literally what I do. And then your answers have to be good. And if you want to juice it, because sometimes actually at the beginning of my responses, I will list my credibility. So for example, if somebody asks about TikTok or about Instagram, I'll say, I have so many followers and I post it every day in a row and I have this experience making content. Then I will say that at the beginning of the response. You're welcome to write whatever you want. I certainly was not shy about juicing myself up in the early days of Edward Sturm when I was starting and when I wanted to get quotes in these big publications. I was not shy about doing that. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm just saying what I did. But okay, here's what I would recommend directly to you, Ibrahim, a junior in college. Just start right away. The free tier is free. They notify you to answer questions. You get 3 answers a month. So just sign up to the free tier. See if you get notified with any questions in your niche. And if you do, answer them to the best of your ability. Don't lie at the beginning. You don't even need a website at the beginning, though it would help if you want to say that you're a finance expert at so-and-so. But you could also just say finance expert. And then your attribution could be your LinkedIn. The website that they link to, it could be your LinkedIn. Try to make an impressive LinkedIn. That's something that anybody should do. Oh, actually, when I was starting with SEO, I did exaggerate a little bit on my LinkedIn. I did that. Yep. Not shy about it. I've talked about it on multiple podcasts. I actually have a LinkedIn guide as well. So I recommended the Pareto guide, the Pareto SEO, the 20% of things to do to get 80% of the results with SEO. And I'm also in the description for this episode, I'm also going to share my LinkedIn guide, which gets a lot of people read it and then they get hired at big companies and top companies, because it's what I did when I was just learning, when I was still kind of fresh with SEO, to get hired at one of the top SEO agencies in the world doing SEO for some of the biggest companies in the world. And so I have that LinkedIn guide in the description for this episode. But yeah, just say you're a finance expert and answer questions to the best of your abilities. You don't need a website at the beginning, though I do recommend anybody creating a website for themselves. It's so much better to have one that's aged if you do ever want to do SEO. Actually, if you search this is crazy. If you ask ChatGPT and you say, who is Edward Sturm, it will give you a long answer about me, which is kind of cool. And part of the reason for that is because I have a website that I've written a lot on. And I have a lot about myself there, and ChatGPT has learned from edwardsturm.com, and it even cites it as one of its sources. Okay, so what happens then when you actually get quoted in one of these publications? How do you use that to legitimize yourself? This is what to do. You get quoted in a publication and then you share it. You share it everywhere. And don't be shy. Share it on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on X, anywhere that you are active. Even if you're not really active on LinkedIn, share it. Even if you're not super active on Instagram, share it to your story. Maybe at the beginning, you won't be covered that much. So you'll be sharing it once a month or once every 2 months. And you'll say, and write casually too. Don't write some like BS language, thrilled to be included in this article, like so excited to be included. People hate that. Don't write that. Write like you would if you were sharing with a friend or with your parents. Just genuine. So what I would say, and this is how I might say it if I was actually talking to a friend or sharing this with my parents, I would say, just got quoted in Forbes talking about so-and-so. So that's what you could say. Just got quoted in this publication talking about quantitative finance. And then you share a link to the article. So you could do so, you could just write it like really normal, really genuine. Oh, it got included in this publication today. This one's super cool. Check out my quote here. Something like that. Hyped about being included in this one. If you start getting included a lot, if you start actually getting your answers like mine and you're getting accepted all the time, you could group them together at the end of each month. Was shared in these 2 publications this month. This is awesome. And so here's the result of being quoted in publications on talking about finance and then sharing that you are being quoted in all these publications. You are social proofing yourself. By the time you graduate, when you want a job or you want clients or you want to do something for yourself that requires people trusting you, you are social proofed by publications citing you as an expert. And people will see it because you shared it everywhere and you've been sharing it everywhere for months or years. You've been sharing on LinkedIn, on Instagram, people are on X, people are seeing it. And what also will happen, and I saw this myself very early on, is people will want to help you because they will see you as this rising star. Especially you'll be seen as a prodigy in college. Oh my gosh, he's in college and he's already being quoted in these publications talking about finance. You will be seen as a prodigy. It makes you seem credible, authoritative. You could put that you've been quoted in these publications on your LinkedIn about section as well, quoted in so-and-so and so-and-so. You can put logos on your site, appeared in this. You can share places that you've appeared on your site. You can share links to the articles. And so it's going to make you look really, really credible. And it happened to me and it happens to lots of people. That's actually, a lot of people don't even use featured.com for the backlinks. They want the clout. They want the social proof. They want the credibility. And so that is how you can use this hack, the mental hack, the free tier of featured.com, which is crazy, and legitimize yourself for free with very little work. So Ibrahim, thank you for the question. I hope this was a suitable answer. And everybody, thank you so much for watching, if you're watching on YouTube. And thank you so much for listening, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I spent 5 hours today making a chicken stew, and I'm super excited about it because right before recording this, I deboned it. Because it finished, I took the bones out of the chicken stew, mixed it up, and now it's been cooling down. It's going to be the perfect temperature. When I put down my mic, I'm going to go and eat it. It's going to be the perfect temperature, and it's been cooking for 5 hours. It's going to be so tasty, and I love chicken stew. I love chicken soup. It's going to be great. I'm going to feel so good. But I'm feeling good already, and I hope you're feeling good too. Thank you so much. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.